Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The deal to release the hostages in Gaza is on hold. Less than a day after the announcement, Hamas is making new demands.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the terror group is creating a last-minute crisis. Paul Strand has more from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accuses Hamas of making new demands about which Palestinian prisoners will be released in exchange for the hostages in Gaza. He says his security cabinet, slated to vote on the deal today, won't meet until Hamas drops back down. Wednesday, crowds cheered in the streets of Gaza when Qatar's prime minister made the announcement of a ceasefire agreement. If Hamas does drop its objections, the deal's supposed to take effect in 3 stages, with the guns going silent and the first 3 hostages coming out this Sunday, 2 of them Americans. More of the 33 hostages, who are over 50, female, children, or sick, will then be freed every few days in the 6-week-long first stage. After 16 days, more negotiations begin, which should see the rest of the living hostages freed and the war permanently ended. In exchange, Israel will release around 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, including many terrorists serving life sentences for murdering Israelis. Israel's foreign minister points out it's tough to accept a deal leaving Hamas terrorists in power.
But if we will postpone the decision, we don't know how many of them will survive.
Hostage families are reacting with a combination of joy and dread, rejoicing their relatives may be freed soon, fearful that many may never come back.
I really hope that it won't end with only 33 hostages returning home, but all of them, because everyone must return, both the living and the dead.
Netanyahu first called President-elect Trump to thank him for getting the deal done, and then called President Biden. Both Trump and Biden are taking credit for the now-threatened deal. Trump declared on Truth Social, this epic ceasefire agreement could have only happened as a result of our historic victory in November. Biden says the plan was first advanced by his team, but said the incoming and outgoing White House teams worked side by side.
In these past few days, we've been speaking as one team.
Trump stating his incoming administration will work to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. On CBN's Faith Nation, former IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus objected to the potential deal letting Hamas survive.
Hamas in power means more war, more terror, more instability, more suffering in Gaza, and it means that we're kicking the can down the road and we're not really solving the problem.
Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio, a strong advocate for Israel, voiced concerns at his hearings Wednesday.
How can any nation state on the planet coexist side by side with a group of savages like Hamas?
As for the deal, yesterday Israel's president called for his government to approve the deal for the sake of the hostages. Paul Strand, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Let's continue to pray for the release of the hostages, but something significant will happen on Monday. And what a difference a day will bring. His vow is that the hostages are still there. Watch out. And so we'll see what happens in the hours after his swearing in, what will happen to Hamas. In my view, Hamas should not exist anymore. They're trying to regroup. They're trying to rebuild. To release to them 1,000 terrorists is just absolutely unimaginable to me. But that's the deal on the table. Let's see if they take it. But if they don't, come Monday, it's going to be a different story. In other news, the nation's capital is locking down in preparation for President-elect Trump's inauguration on Monday. John Jessup has more on that story and more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. Security officials predict up to 250,000 people will be here in Washington, D.C. when Donald Trump takes the oath of office on January 20th. That includes thousands of protesters, a full complement of D.C. police, plus officers from across the nation and the National Guard. Troops will be on hand, about 25,000 personnel altogether. There's also 30 miles of fencing and vehicle barriers, creating a 2-mile security zone from the Capitol to the White House. While there have been no specific threats against the inauguration, officials cite the New Year's Day terror attack in New Orleans and 2 attempts on President-elect Trump's life during the campaign for the heightened security. Well, firefighters report progress on the 2 biggest wildfires burning around Los Angeles. The Eaton fire is 45% contained, while the massive Palisades fire is at about 21% contained overnight. With several days of lower winds ahead, they're hoping to make more headway and begin letting people go back to their neighborhoods to start rebuilding. CBN's Operation Blessing is on the scene, working with other ministries, providing food, bottled water, hygiene kits, and much more to those in need. Wednesday, Operation Blessing sent the LA Dream Center a truckload of meal kits that will feed a family of 4 for 3 days. Gordon?
If you want to be a part of this relief effort, it's real simple. Join the 700 Club. A portion of every gift goes into the work of Operation Blessing, and whether that's in disasters in California, the aftermath of the hurricane in North Carolina, all that we're seeing around the world, we need your help, and we need people to say, yes, we'll join with you. So if that's you, if you'd like to join with us, call us, 1-800-700-7000. Yesterday, we heard a lot from California, people saying, I want to give, I want to help people in need. Here's a 1,000 Club member from Los Angeles saying, I want to go to Founder, $5,000. From North Highlands, California, $7,825. And then, I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know, it's Vacaville or Vacaville, California, $6,000. You could be a part of it. It's not just California reaching out. It's every one of the states saying, yes, I want to be a part. I want to help people. And we're getting donations internationally as well. Join with us, 1-800-700-7000.